There's some event on Thursday, recognition.
Yes. I think Nicole's gonna.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You're gonna get a text from me that says, hey, are we still having a meeting? Because I was standing outside there. So
Oh, okay. Looks like we're in quorum land. Time do we have on the computer here? I have
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And the phone said 7 p.m. as well. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order for the Parks and Events Commission hybrid meeting for this date, which would be
17.
Monday, April 17th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And let's start off in computer land with roll call.
Hey, Ryan Pryor's here.
Okay, do we have anyone else? Okay. Here at the table in the conference room.
Scott Vermeulen.
Okay,
Dina Dean, City Clerk.
Mike Chambliss.
Paul Swam, Commission Chair, so we have a quorum. Agenda approval, I would also like to note that we have an excused absence from our co-chair, Heather. So let that also be noted as well. Agenda approval. Any thoughts about the agenda, added items, subtracting items as is? Anyone want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have
I
a
second that.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, agenda approved. Public comments. 1,002.
I'll do a public comment because Phil would kill me if I didn't. Just a reminder that the Arbor Day event is Saturday at Riverview Park in the morning.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for any other public comments? Counting once, counting twice. All right. We will close public comments then. Council liaison reports. I don't know that we have our council liaison here tonight, so we will look forward to the next council liaison report in a future meeting. Moving on to minutes. We have the minutes dated March 20th, 2023, which are in your packets. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay.
I second that.
And we have a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are approved. Regular business, bylaws finalization, and you will find in your packet on the last page the final dolled up draft by Deanna. Okay, Dina, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Dina did our final draft here from our discussion last month. And I would like to make a note that after reading through article, where is this thing? For the Article 4 elective officers. I bounced off of Dina the idea of, in the last sentence prior, it said no member shall serve more than 2 consecutive terms as chair. I suggested that we insert the word elected terms, just because that allows a little bit more flexibility for scenarios in which we have resignations of the chair in the middle of a term and somebody taking over that situation. I've even heard of chairs and a sit-in chair or acting chair even having to resign within the span of a term as well. So I think it eliminates a little bit of the ambiguity of the elected versus sitting in as the chair position, if that makes any sense. Does anyone have any thoughts? to
Makes
that?
sense. It makes sense to me what you're saying. The only thing I'm gonna say is even if someone's a chair for a day, but they resign, then it's no longer a consecutive term, right?
So you say they've been, so in this scenario, they've been elected as chair?
So like, let's say you're elected as chair, and then next time I become the chair, but after a day I resign, you become the chair again, but it wasn't consecutive because I was chair for a day.
I believe that's correct, yes. Assuming that I was the co-chair in that scenario while you were chair before you resigned. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So then I would take over that position, I guess, as the non-elected chair. Because I was co-chair and the chair ahead of me resigned and I am filling the vacancy.
Mhm.
That
Either
makes
way.
perfect sense.
Yeah, either way, I'm fine with the verbiage of putting elected in there.
Okay,
Me as well. I do have one point of clarification.
okay,
Yeah, upon approving this, I would say that we don't count any of the elected terms that have occurred so far. We go forward from the day we put this in place, which would then allow you to continue become reelected in 2024.
if I decide.
If you decide.
If I decide I want to do it again.
Exactly. I just think it shouldn't be retroactive. It should be effective the date that we approve it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I would say that with the caveat of don't move forward with that idea in your head, assuming that I'm going to seek the chair's spot next year. So just say,
Yeah, my point of that was it provides more flexibility versus not.
okay,
Yeah, definitely.
okay,
So I move to approve the bylaws as stated.
Okay, I second that.
okay. Those in favor of approving the bylaws as stated? Aye.
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 Okay. So we have approved bylaws then.
Yay.
Thank you, everyone, for your diligence on that. I know it took a while to craft that, but I think we came up with something that hopefully can sort of be a model for other commissions and groups in the city as well. So good on us there. Good job, everyone. Moving on to commission purpose and direction discussion. When I think of the purpose and direction of us, the first thing that comes to mind is our mission statement, sort of as the guiding North Star for the group. And then from there, we kind of use that as our guiding light to sort of move on to some of the other ideas that the group has and items that we want to tackle. In my experience here, this has been a hybrid of the staff moving forward with their projects and bringing them to us so that we can make informed decisions. And there also is folks come on this commission also with their own individual thoughts. Like, for example, my top two fingers that want to make the frog jump, if you will, are the pool project and as well as trails and signage on trails. And trying to be a backstop to the staff and using some of my writing and planning skills whenever that can be helpful. But we all bring something different to this, and that was those were my thoughts and what this has meant to me for the better part of a decade serving here. Does anyone else want to chime in on thoughts they have, or
Oh, yeah.
or clarification, or where they see this going, perhaps?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Paul. I think when I brought this up, I looked at the mission statement, but kind of in a broader sense, every committee that I've ever been involved with, I've always known everybody or got to know them. And through that, I think the way we communicate improves quite a bit when you know where somebody's coming from. And so that was kind of my idea of being new, getting to know more about why did people join the commission? What was their why? And what do they hope to accomplish? And when they leave the commission, do they look back and say, I did what I wanted? So I'll share with you kind of my why. And it really goes back to when I grew up in Kirkland,
Mhm.
and my family would bring us here to the Snoqualmie Falls. We would have breakfast. We would hike down to the bottom of the falls. And then as our childhood continued, we would come up and we would experience the trains. I had trains at home. So it became kind of a really magical place to me. And then when my wife and I, when I proposed to her, it was at the Salish Lodge. And then we had our first child, our only child, Alyssa, and we found ourselves within a week of her birth back at the Salish Lodge having breakfast. So this place just keeps coming back. And then we moved here. So at age 2, we decided, well, we're going to move there. And so we watched Cascavy Elementary get built. My daughter was the second person to go through that whole class there. And then I coached youth soccer for 8 years. My wife and I coached together and got to really know parents within the Valley. And we had the best parents. They were all involved on our team. They all took a role. This is amazing what this community has. So my why is I hope that what we do as a committee can help not only preserve what we have, but improve what we have so that other families can experience kind of what our family has experienced. So that's a little bit of background. Projects or areas of focus, trails for me. I love going on the trails, but I don't like when a trail ends, which should continue. So when you look back to the 2018 open space plan, they identified 11 trails in the area that don't have links. They don't have connections to where they should go. So that's a big piece of it for me, is if we could somehow solve that part of it. The other trail, the Riverwalk project, that would be a real plus for the community if we could get that moving down the road. And then the third item is being a part of the comprehensive plan, having the ability to help shape kind of where this community, where it's going, what it's going to look like 20 years from now. And albeit we have a small part of that, it's still, I think, a huge opportunity for, as a community or a commission, to leave our mark. So that's a little bit about why I wanted to be a part of this.
Great.
Yeah.
Does anyone else, Ryan, do you want to?
Yeah. So I've lived in Snoqualmie with my family for about 12 years now. When we moved here, my daughter was 2, and my son was born shortly thereafter we moved here. And I've always been really captivated by the city of Snoqualmie and knew it was magical, and that's why we moved here, kind of like what you were just saying. And it just, the very first, we moved here right before Halloween, and the first time trick-or-treating, I was just amazed at how tight the community was and how inviting people were. Like, inviting you into their garage to play games and have other snacks and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is like a huge block party of people who don't know each other, but everybody's so accepting and welcoming. And another funny thing that happened not long after moving is someone ran a four-way stop and like almost T-boned me. I honked, and then the person pulled over, and I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen here? They're going to yell at me now. And the person was like, I'm so sorry. I almost hit you. I didn't even see the sign. I'm like, where did I move to? This is crazy. This place is just so nice. So anyway, as my children got older, I was involved in youth sports for both of them. And I coached both boys and girls youth sports of various kinds. And my children got to the age where my expertise in coaching, I was more of a wrangler and able to organize and keep the kids kind of captivated and paying attention to something. But when it came to actual, as they get older, to need to know technical skills of these various sports to teach the kids, I started getting, it was a little past my expertise. So I stepped back from some of the coaching role, and I was talking to a friend who's lived here a while too, but hey, what else can I do to get involved in the community here? I've loved interacting with all the parents and other families and stuff that I've met through these programs. And my friend at the time had mentioned, hey, there's a position open on the Parks Commission. It's like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll look into that a little bit. And I applied and eventually got the nod for it. And I thought it'd be a great way to help foster the great thing that we have here. And as the community continues to grow, protect what we have and improve upon it. Some of the play structures and parks are a little bit aged and need repair. And so it's really cool being part of that plan to improve the facilities and, being part, like I was on the community center expansion plan, a couple of meetings in the last month, and just being able to have a voice in that and make sure that we're preparing facilities for growth and just continue a wonderful place to live. I just love having input in all of it and knowing that I'm doing my part to protect and improve what we have here, because it's the best place I've ever lived. And what was the second part of that? I was supposed to talk more?
I think you hit it. Thank you.
Commission purpose and direction discussion.
Perhaps I kind of can do a little magic question and kind of tell you the future. So right now we're kind of in a lull. We had a flurry of activity to get the playground project going. Due to a budget situation, that's the only playground that's going to get done for a while. We started it last fiscal year, but they didn't carry the funds over to this fiscal year. So this fiscal year's funds are going to cover that work, and we lost the funds from last fiscal year because weather hit us before we got it done. But I would encourage you to stop by Riverview Park. It's coming together quite nicely. So there's a lull in the playground program. There's also a lull kind of in park staffing. We're down 2 leadership positions in that department, and we're doing everything we can just to keep our standard of care up. Additionally, we have the comp plan coming up, and that is going to be hot and heavy as soon as we can get a consultant on board. Unfortunately, all the cities around Puget Sound do the comp plan at the same time. So we're having difficulty finding a consultant with the bandwidth to take us on. So we'll be working on that. Once that goes into effect, it's my thought to have 6 public meetings. 2 of them to focus on a community park. A pool going in there and a splash pad going in there, mixing stuff up. We're going to need to figure out where to put tennis courts, basketball courts, pickleball courts. We're going to have public meetings. Some of the neighbors are already calling saying, what are you doing? You've lost your mind. So there's a lot of fear out there that we're going to need to address. They need to be part of the process of deciding where these features are going. So that'd be 2 of the 6. 2 of them need to be, your traditional comp plan. And then I think we need to take a good look at our trail system. I've read the existing comp plan. There are sections in there that I think went beyond the scope of where the comp plan should have been. we need to bring it back in and focus on what we control and what we can do. So there's a ton of work coming up. We're just having difficulty getting out of the starting gate because we got one submittal from the RFQ and they were not qualified. So that's coming forward. We have the pool project rapidly coming forward. I would imagine that within the next little bit, I'll be probably the next meeting, I'll be letting you know the schedule, go back to council to ask to bring on the person that we choose through the process we've been going through for our design builder. And if the council green lights the design, then there will be meetings regarding features and pool. When we get to 30% concept plan, I will be presenting it to this commission and getting your input before we go beyond that. And we're gonna we'll have a few pool meetings and then the design will be locked in and there'll be no more touching it for a long time. It's like a 2-year construction project to build this. So once again, a flurry of activity and then hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
And everybody's standing at the fence going open, open, open. So those are the major things on the horizon. There's little stuff going on, like I'm trying to, I was contacted by Eagle Scout, looking to, obviously it's a collaborative process to decide, but we have several projects identified, one of which being improving the trail signage throughout the system, because it doesn't exist. So the pieces are in place. We have our sign machine. We have the ability to make them in-house. So that's one of my primary projects to get going because it is necessary. So
Because there's a whole theme to that signage system.
correct.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of a gist of the workload coming up, and it probably seems a little relaxed right now, but I'd say within the next 3 meetings, we're gonna be up to our necks in work.
And when you say pool, you're referring to the community center expansion as a whole?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Well, the reason why I said pool, and Ryan will kind of laugh at this, the message was received loud and clear through the stakeholder meetings that that is everybody's #1 focus.
Yep.
It's a swimming pool. #1 focus.
We've been living and dying in this community for over a decade with this by sword on this thing.
Yeah, so we are, in fact, we just had a meeting this morning and a comment was made, or way past where we got before, so.
Oh, good.
And I'm just building up steam, so.
You know, and having worked on your end of it in City Hall, and I'll mention this to the other commissioners, there's never a time that I would ever think that, you know, a lull means you're not working. You know, there's still work happening. It's just, you know, you're going through procedures and then there's a result. It's just that there are not results every single week. So
It's
a process.
cyclical. So
Yep.
there's a big effort to get a project through the design phase until the bid, which is right now, I got 3 more major projects to get across the bid finish line. None of them are parks, but they're all paving. But once I get those past the finish line, then we will have the bandwidth to start working on the next set of projects.
And Centennial is still in the works,
Centennial
equipment's ordered.
is out for bid right now.
Great.
For the builder. The equipment has been ordered. The fences will probably go up in the next month.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Good to hear.
And if we get cooperative weather, the fences at Riverview will come down, hopefully. in the
I
next-
saw Riverview over the weekend and took some pictures. And
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
Yeah, I've got to go check review out and I'm excited for Centennial.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Oh, and the council approved the next phase of Riverwalk design at the last council meeting, so that took another big step forward
Nice.
also.
Right, good to hear.
So by December, I believe, we're supposed to have a design for the next phase.
Cool, thank you.
In wrapping up this discussion, one thing I thought of that I thought was important to mention, especially since we're in a recorded meeting, and it's good for the universe to know this, that part of what brings me here, and part of what I look at in every project that's constructed is safety. With a planning background, I came to this, and while I was bringing that background into this group, there were also the challenges of the playground equipment and the events aspects, which were new to me. But I knew that safety, I could bring a safety eye and point at certain things or flash red lights on projects when they arose if I thought there was a concern. As you're driving up the parkway, there's signalization there next to one of our major parks that allows folks to safely cross the street. And at the time that we were expanding that park and putting in new equipment, many of us noted the need for that safety feature and that crosswalk. And I think I was over in Sun Valley, Idaho, and I saw some blinking light system that's similar to that. This was back in like 2015 or 16. And I just went ahead and emailed what I was seeing with some photographs to the director at the time and the mayor, and saying, look, I really think that, folks driving down the parkway are not going to expect to be stopping unless they have some kind of flashing light or signalization to stop the vehicles. And so, it's little things like that that end up being a bigger deal and frankly, help me sleep at night. And I think that's a big part of the work that we do, is making sure that we have an eye on safety or an opportunity to take advantage of a safety matter and improve it every time we weigh in on a project. So I thought I would throw that out there as well. So it's, we don't want to create a feature or approve a project and realize we've inadvertently created a monster and something dangerous, and so that's a big part of our job.
Agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else in wrapping up this discussion? Any other thoughts? All righty. Thanks everyone for what you bring to the group. And everyone comes from a different background and has a different trained eye for the projects that we're working on here. So I think we have a really good group together, and will be valuable as we move forward. So moving on to special events reports. Nicole?
Hi, everybody.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't really have much right now. I just got off a couple of busy or some busy events a couple weekends ago pertaining to egg hunts, which were, I guess I can talk a little bit about that. Really successful. The team egg hunt was on the Friday night, and we increased our attendance from last year. I'd say there was over 100 kids there. The stuff was gone in 2 minutes. We actually had some people come from outside the community, which I think is good. I also, Ryan, you're on the board of the ROA. This is pinky swear. Amy always wants to kind of keep it contained because partially the funding is ROA, partially it's city funding. And I totally understand that lens at which she looks at that, but it's also, there's so few events for teens and tweens, and it's nice. And then I did have some feedback from actually someone who works at the city who lives in North Bend, but their kids go to Mount Si. And so I think that's rough when you've got kids that all go to school together. and oh, you can't come to the event. So I'm going to kind of let that one go a little bit, and just think that we're doing a greater good. It was a good event. We had some families from Panorama, which was good because that tells me that they're helping to promote our city marketing to their residents. So all in all, that was really good. The next day, we had great weather too. The next day was the little kids. That was a good event. We had a little bit of issues with the golden eggs, which I might have a little PTSD from that, doing egg events in the past. And it's disappointing to me that humanity rears its ugly head. So I'm actually thinking that next year I might not do the golden eggs. The White House does a big egg hunt, and they do wooden eggs and they engrave them. I'm probably getting into the weeds with you guys. I'm hoping maybe you find this a little bit interesting like I do, but just so that I can put those eggs out and they can't be seen, so I don't have kids fighting, because I did, and that's disheartening.
Put the
Then
golden eggs out as decoys.
Yeah.
well, that's what, so if the golden eggs are out there, what they were doing is they were scoping them out when they were sitting there waiting to go. So if I do wooden eggs that are also the pastel colors, they won't know until they get it in their hands. So I'm going to try to outsmart them. Then the downtown event was really successful. Again, a couple crazy, certifiable crazy moms chasing down golden eggs. Like one mom got 3 golden eggs for her kids, and you just want it to be fair, and it's just an interesting situation. But overall, those were good events. It's
Hey, you
kinda
know
nice.
what?
Yeah.
Those parents love their kids more than I love mine, so that's cool.
Is that what it is, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah. It was rough. When I got down there, the merchants were like crazed. I'm like, what's going on? And then I soon learned why this one woman, she was a piece of work.
I'll be your sergeant of arms next year, or
Well,
your bouncer.
I said to the group, I said,
Just don't
I
forget this
feel
meeting's being recorded.
Yeah.
I feel compelled to call the police, but that's so wrong. Like, this is so dumb, but yet what she's doing is so wrong. So I just need to perfect my my event coordinator shaming element. I don't know. I got to work on that one. So so there's that. Mike gave the update about Arbor Day, so I think that's great. One thing that you might want to take a peek downtown from the Arts Commission, and it's on the window of Carousel on King Street, and it's a selfie mural of an elk, and it's Lawrence the elk, Larry the elk. So we've decided, the Arts Commission has decided to kind of play with that a little bit. The elk are a really cool element, very unique to our community. And so they're going to be kind of playful with that. We hope to have 4 different seasonal Larry the elk murals on the window. And apparently a lot of people like it, and they like to come in and take photos. So it's just kind of a fun little thing to be doing in the community. Lastly, I heard you guys chattering a little bit before the meeting, and we do have the volunteer recognition event on Thursday. It's a little strange because I would love to say, hey, everybody come, but the way it works is if you were on a commission from April of 2022 to April of 2023, then we honor you. And I don't actually know I don't remember if everybody on here is of that situation. I don't know, but if you were, you got an invitation. So just welcome you to come to that. It's the Snoqualmie Inn on Thursday. It's an annual event. It's kind of gotten a little bit of a facelift in the last couple of years. It is different than what we did pre-COVID. I think that's okay. Things can sometimes get facelifts. So it's at the Snoqualmie Inn. It's heavy appetizers and dessert, and it's just an opportunity to say thank you and for everybody to come together. So just send me an email if you can come, and I'll see you then. And I think those are my updates.
And
have
that is on the Ridge, the Snoqualmie Inn.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, next to the, what's that brewery's name? Novo?
No vote. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll email you. I couldn't figure out if we should RSVP for that, and I didn't, but
Okay.
count me in.
Cool. I'll put you down, Paul. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, Ryan?
I'll email you if I can go. I saw this
Okay.
before. My wife is she has something late to do that night, so I
You
might
can
be
bring
out.
the kids if you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people would bring their kids, and so I have the ice cream guy gonna be there, so they might have a, good time with them.
Okay,
You
cool.
run up and down the hallways, bang on the room door.
Bang on the
Sure.
doors of everyone trying to sleep. You said.
Maybe
7
what I'll do,
o'clock,
I'll have them open up a room and we'll kind of have a romper room for the kids, or the kids' activity room or
Well,
something.
Did you say 7 o'clock?
5:30 to 7:30.
5:30 to 7:30. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Unless there's anything else, we're ready to adjourn.
You might be the
Do I
quickest
get-
one yet.
Yeah, this is the most complicated subject of the evening, adjournment. Do I have someone to move to adjourn? Or we could just stay here all night.
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I stole it from you.
All right.
All right, all in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you everyone for all your efforts.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.